There is a war fought all around us every single day, which many people have never even heard of. It's a battle against authoritarian surveillance, and we, the people of this nation, and the world for that matter, are currently losing that war. Let me begin by describing the enemy, or at least one of them. Flock Group Incorporated is an American safety technology company headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, who specializes in the production of multiple devices, but chief among them, something called ALPRs, also known as automated license plate readers. These cameras, individually powered by their own solar panels, utilize a proprietary AI model to capture and interpret images of passing vehicles, or so they say. Far beyond any sort of current competitor, Flock cameras gather information such as make, model, car, and license plate, but also other visible characteristics like roof racks, aftermarket parts, or even bumper stickers. In the past few years, over 90,000 of these cameras have popped up all across the United States, with hundreds of thousands more globally. But the distribution framework for how these cameras end up in local communities is a little bit obfuscated. Flock as a company doesn't have just one contract, they have thousands. The hardware that they make and the software that they're perfecting in order to run it are being sold to police precincts, private businesses, major corporations, municipalities, and everything in between. According to the company themselves, using court decisions as well as elected representative statements for justification, according to the company themselves, what they're doing is not mass surveillance. But if you look just a tiny bit deeper, it becomes flatly impossible to ever accept that explanation. The way that Flock represents their products and services appears to be wildly different from reality. Quote, Flock ALPRs do not and cannot track vehicles, much less individual people. ALPRs take a point in time image of the rear of vehicles on public roadways. They are incapable of tracking the whole of anyone's movements, a determination that has been consistently made by courts across the country. End quote. That statement from the official Flock website needs to be immediately disputed. Right off the bat, taking a photograph of a vehicle with a timestamp, a license plate, and a location absolutely is fundamentally tracking them. If you take one snapshot with one camera, but then take five more during separate intervals across a 25-minute journey at various different locations, you are undeniably tracking movements, period. It may be true that the cameras themselves are employed by different jurisdictions or companies. It may also be true that whatever customer originally purchased the cameras had no intention for them to be used in such a way, but the simple truth of the matter is that compiling this type of surveillance data into a searchable index, which is what they're doing, allows for the tracking of citizens, and if we take a much more precise example, we can see exactly how that's possible. Let's use the Bessemer City, North Carolina Police Department for demonstrational purposes. This particular client operates about 20 LPR cameras. They've cataloged over 72,000 vehicles in the past 30 days alone. But all of this data is being shared with almost 2,000 additional organizations across the entire country. These are mainly local police departments or federal law enforcement agencies, but the concept of this isn't mass surveillance falls apart immediately when you realize that the majority of your clients communicate, share, and coordinate their data not only with each other, but also the government. Historically speaking, governments with the ability to individually track the movements of their population do not end up using that ability to enhance freedoms. Still, the concept of ALPR cameras is a mere surface level issue because the true scope of the problem is much larger. All over the Flock official website are safety proclamations, safer communities, privacy first, utopian claims of a better society. But if you look at their FAQ, you'll find statements like this one, quote, who has access to Flock footage? Flock will not share, sell, or access your data, end quote. Elsewhere again, quote, nobody from Flock Safety is accessing or monitoring your footage, end quote. That sounds good as a simple declaration on a website, but after a series of public records requests by a man named Jason Hunyar in Dunwoody, Georgia, the depth of the issue becomes far more obvious. It would seem, based on public records disclosure, that Flock employees are not only accessing data from cameras routinely, they're also facilitating API access for various third parties, despite the fact that their customer, Dunwoody, Georgia PD in this case, allegedly didn't have an existing agreement with that third party. These records also appear to show that Flock employees were deliberately masking certain accounts from having their searches appear in audits, as well as numerous Flock employees either accessing live cameras or previous recordings. In some cases, these cameras were positioned to view pools, gymnastics rooms, and fitness studios, while the VP of Business Development, Bob Carter, seems to have accessed many such cameras, one in particular at a children's gymnastics room in the local Jewish community center, allegedly during a sales demonstration. The company has since done a fair bit of damage control on all of this, including a letter to the affected community apologizing for poor judgment, but there's a couple of things we now need to address. First and foremost, license plate readers on public roadways are not the only product that Flock sells. Obviously, if it were, why would they ever be in the gym or the community center? Far from it, actually. In addition to the AI-powered license plate scanners, Flock also manufactures microphones. They're called Ravens, and they, quote, detect community disruption, expand awareness of nonviolent threats, including sideshows, fireworks, and other disruptive community activity, end quote. Not only is the company selling widespread, always active roadway detection, which is being shared by an exponentially growing number of local and federal law enforcement agencies, they're also selling audio detection, and if you want the most horrifying example of all, on top of this, they're selling AI-powered motion tracking surveillance cameras called Condors, specifically designed to monitor, track, and zoom on human targets. These are the type of cameras that were presumably accessed live by their employees, despite all of the claims on their website. But these cameras are called PTZ, Pan Tilt Zoom, which are purpose-made for the tracking of people and faces. That may seem fine to some of you, subjectively. We all have different thresholds in terms of privacy invasion, but what if I now said that a large number of these Flock Condor cameras had been hooked up and left openly accessible to the entire internet? Jointly published by Ben Jordan and 404 Media, it turned out that many of these cameras were publicly viewable, which is dangerous from a security perspective right off the bat, but also gave picture-perfect insight into what they're actually doing. These cameras track movement. They will zoom in on phone screens when visible, and they're positioned everywhere, from playgrounds to parking lots, walking paths, stores, and more. Even the LPR cameras, license plate readers, are now popping up aimed at basketball courts, bike trails, and entrances to major consumer locations, thoroughfares, malls, things like that. You don't have to look very far to find examples where the camera is taking infrared pictures of people, not vehicles. No vehicles are even present in such cases. And for the sake of totality, in their second quarter 2025 law enforcement summary, Flock unveiled that all of their LPRs will become video-enabled with a mere software patch. Just to clarify, as the company simultaneously claims, even now as of initial publication, as the company claims that LPRs do not constitute mass surveillance because they're simply point-in-time images, they have also offered a very simple upgrade, completely free, I might add, so that existing cameras can now have video capabilities enabled at the press of a button. It's kind of like Schrodinger's camera, a network of surveilling devices taking point-in-time images, but it's technically not a surveillance network, according to them, even though the cameras literally also have video, except when someone uses it that way, because that's what it does and how it's being used. Freedom of Information Act and public records requests are now showing definitively that these cameras are being used for traffic citations. The information is being used by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE, across deportation activities, and for the purpose of monitoring protests as well. The cameras that are definitely not a surveillance network are being used precisely how one might theoretically begin using a mass surveillance network before it's fully completed. Contained in now public records from Danville, Illinois, as a description for why law enforcement agencies are then using the Flock database, we can see ICE plus ERO, which is Enforcement and Removal Operations for ICE, which means that Flock cameras, whether or not they were ever intended to become this, which I would presume they were based on company decision-making, Flock cameras are being used as an integrated surveillance database across the United States where federal law enforcement agencies access real-time data, previous license plate pictures, car specifications, and even always listening microphones to track, arrest, and deport targets. This is where it gets tricky, okay? The individual reason why law enforcement decides to use a mass surveillance system isn't the only factor that matters. A certain group of people, politically, tend to support the idea of law enforcement doing this, at least in terms of immigration. It's a very controversial subject in America right now. But what we need to understand is the difference between a framework and general usage of that framework. If you have a network of interconnected companies or police departments, in this case most of all sharing audiovisual surveillance with each other, but they only ever use that system for the tracking and conviction of, let's say, high-profile violent criminals, a sizable share of the population has no real issue with that. The problem comes when that very same system is used for more. Under the Raven description for flock microphones discussed previously, we can see fireworks and community disruption. These are not violent crimes, obviously, but in a world where the government can access all of that data on a whim from a complex network of police departments and third-party vendors who are all sharing what they capture across every facet of citizen life, in a world like that, what possible mechanism is there to stop the government from using LPRs, microphones, and PTZ cameras all in conjunction with one another so that the people buying and shooting their fireworks, for example, because they're specifically mentioned, are now penalized? It's a revenue opportunity, first and foremost, through civil penalties against citizens. It's a control mechanism, and most of all, it's a flexible foundation by which any number of further authoritarian policies can be executed or enforced in the future. Networks like this don't just snap into existence overnight. There have been warning signs about the creeping authority of the federal government, at least in the United States, for decades. In the wake of September 11th, 2001, the Patriot Act was largely viewed as a particularly notable step down that road. More recently, the Kids Internet and Digital Safety Act has been making its way through Congress, pushing towards a near total destruction of internet privacy. That'll be a future project on the channel, ID verification, the assault on the internet, stuff like that. But for today's video, the focus is on flock, video surveillance, audio surveillance, but even with that narrow focus, the pattern itself is undeniable. Something I found to be particularly notable, especially when you consider the contradictions on the official Flock website, is that the company has deliberately opted to exclude their website from the Internet Archives. A small thing in the grand scheme, however, subjectively, I don't know if I've ever seen a reputable company intentionally exclude themselves from the process of archiving information. That practice, in my experience, is almost universally reserved for con men, scammers, and corporations that are intentionally acting against the public good. All of this makes no mention of false positives, by the way. According to Institute for Justice, dozens of people have now been pulled over, held at gunpoint, arrested, or jailed because of mistakes that these cameras are making. A particularly notable recent case from Toledo, Ohio, occurred when the camera mistook the number 2 for the number 7, leading to a scenario where the unsuspecting driver was attacked by a police dog before being arrested and detained, while officers repeatedly told him that his car had a stolen license plate. Obviously, it didn't. They were wrong, but that never stopped the attack dog or the arrest. There is an argument to be made that the company selling the hardware isn't responsible for how the hardware gets used, which obviously does make sense to a degree. It's not the first time that argument has been made. But when you manufacture something which is purpose-built for the implementation of a mass surveillance system, that's what the functionality is designed around, while excluding your own company from the online archives, it does raise questions. And it's also not the only thing that Flock has recently done. In January of 2026, shortly after revelations that dozens of Flock cameras were hooked up to the open internet, the company made a host of changes to their legal terms. A direct comparison shows a multitude of differences, mainly typical corporate jargon, a lot of it, but one change in particular stood out to me. Under the limitation of liability section in February of 2026, Flock proceeded to eliminate the entire section on gross negligence or willful misconduct. Previously, the company had terms where deliberate or reckless harm that they cause would not be subject to limitations of liability, or at least differently. However, after the change, those protections were gone. If the company were to go now and cause grossly negligent or deliberate harm, such as data breaches or willful lack of security, things like that, if it were to happen now, the number of recourse options available to those impacted by it would be greatly decreased, which is explicitly by design. And all of this, by the way, is taking place as the company now manufactures camera-equipped drones as the next component of a nationwide surveillance state. Now for the part about what you can do. As of right now, at least 8 different cities across the United States, over in the UK, it looks like they're just physically destroying the cameras. But here in the United States, at least 8 different cities have been forced to remove these cameras, or at the very least, scale them back significantly after public records requests. Because of the nature of the footage, legally designated as public records by certain courts, multiple jurisdictions are choosing to break contract entirely rather than make any portion of it public. Authoritarian operations like this require subtlety. They don't thrive in direct sunlight. So considering how frequently people ask, what can we possibly do about any of this, I'd like to include 2 separate links: the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, and the EFF, Electronic Frontier Foundation, who both have excellent write-ups on what is happening, why it's happening, and the things that you individually can do to help stop it. What those options are changes dramatically based on region. There is no one-size-fits-all, so I can't give it to you. But for anyone who's interested, there are definite ways of making an actual difference in your local community. Flock is a hardware manufacturer, a software developer, and an AI surveillance company where the products that they make are the latest iteration of a multi-decade war on privacy. The words safety and security are all too often a precursor before trampled liberties and civil rights violations. I believe that is happening again right now. That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. A special VPN deal, locals and Patreon, channel memberships, the Upper Echelon website, and more, much more. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.